There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to your favorite podcast. Riffin with Griffin, yeah. Whoa, whoa, yeah, yeah. Riffin with Griffin. Riffin with Griffin, yeah. Whoa, 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 yeah, yeah, yeah. Welcome back to Riffin with Griffin. Today's episode, you know what we got to talk about. Sydney Sweeney's jeans, y'all. We got to get them jeans. Does she got good jeans or she got good jeans? You know? Is this a conspiracy? We'll find out. Also, I saw this weird-ass movie called Hippo. I got to talk about that. That's crazy. Plus a lot more. Welcome back to Riffin with Griffin. Yeah. Whoa, whoa. Yeah, yeah. Welcome back to Riffin with Griffin, y'all. I appreciate y'all for being here. Let's see. Where are we at right here? Oh, I'm not even on the right. Here we go. You got to sub. You know what I mean? You sub. That's how you're going to get. That's how I'm going to find out. And you're going to find out if I'm live or if I'm not live or I put up a video. Just, you know, you got to sub. You know what I mean? And hit that notifications. Twitch, baby. I'm twitching all the time. I love Twitch. Love Call of Duty. Can't wait for GTA to come out. And I might start playing Battlefield. I'm throwing that out. We'll see. Those people stole my money last time. I'm not going to let that happen again. And Patreon people, I appreciate y'all. One of the things I'm definitely doing, I'm putting stuff out the night before. If I'm going to put up a video, stand-up, Patreon people get to see it first and comment, and then I interact with them, and then, you know, then it goes out to the masses. But I appreciate everybody for watching and listening to Riffin with Griffin. Without you, what's the point of doing this? So we are here again, live Wednesday. At the Griffin household, you know, we're doing it. Man, we had like a fire. There was like a fire really close by, like super close by. So the whole neighborhood's like up in arms, you know, because it's like they're doing a lot of building and then there's like a lot of brush and it's like, you know, it's like, does the builder handle this? Does the HOA handle this? And it's just like a whole big mess. But, you know, you just got to stay vigilant with like the neighborhood. You know, it's like all these things, man. I've never owned a house before. So, you know, when you live in an apartment, you just like, hey, the water heater's messed up. Come fix this. You know, there's a crack in my whatever. They just, you know, when you own a house, man, or especially when you don't even really own it because you're paying the bank off and then you paying property tax. So you're paying the bank off and you're paying rent every year with property tax, which is outrageous. And then you have to deal with everything that's wrong with the place. I don't know if I suggest people buying a house or not, honestly, especially in California. But, you know, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, anyways. So that's what's going on there. Things are good. Wolf is good. You know what I mean? Little Wolfie. Should we do a little wolf update? Let's get a little wolf update in. Wait, where's my... Let me see. I don't know. Let's see if the photos app updated as fast as it's supposed to on the computer compared to the it's supposed to, like, the Apple universe is really connected well. I mean, I really like that. You know, if you copy and paste on your Mac and then you can go to your phone and paste whatever you copied on the Mac, you know, and vice versa. I love all that, but sometimes it doesn't work and it just takes too long to get to your computer. But I did have a little video of him today. You know, I don't know, man. Sometimes, like, I tell you, dude, you seriously get overwhelmed. You know what I mean? You get overwhelmed with being a dad, man. I cannot describe it. It's hard to even understand, like, what it means to be a parent. And then just watching them grow. Oh, my God. It's just... Yeah, guys, so this is my little wolf today. I can't play the music too long. I just realized, or I'm going to get dinged for that. But he's got his little hammer pants on. He was jamming today. So, he's a little dancing fool right now, which I love. Anyways. So, what's going on? So I was in Fort Worth this past weekend. Oh, and by the way, all my New York fans, if you saw me with Matt Rife at Madison Square Garden, or you just a fan of mine, next week I'm going to be in New York. I'm coming to the Stand in New York on the 14th. If the first show tickets sell out fast, I'll add a second show. So I got a number of tickets sold already, but I'm really trying to make a push. So if you're in New York, come on, go to the Stand and buy some tickets, y'all. Buy some tickets to see me. I'm going to be there on the 14th. And then in D.C., the 15th and 16th, I'm at Room 808. Room 808 in D.C., come check me out. That's Martin Amini's club. It's a small little club. It only holds like 50. It's so intimate. But I absolutely love going to this club. The crowd is like right there on you. It's always a great time. So if you're in the D.C. area, come check out Room 808. I'll be there the 15th and 16th. 4 shows. 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday. So thanks for that. So anyways, I was in Fort Worth this past weekend, and boy, did I have a situation. Okay? I mean, it's crazy. All right, so I had some good shows. Okay? Had some good shows in Texas. I had 4 shows. The first show Friday was fantastic. Saturday was like not as full. I mean, Friday late show, but Saturday shows were great. It was great. So one of the shows on Saturday, guys, I'm moving and grooving. I mean, moving and grooving, right? And then out of nowhere, this girl in the crowd goes like this, whatever, like just out of nowhere. Everybody's enjoying themselves, or at least, like, in my mind, it seemed like 85 to 90 to 100% of the people were enjoying the show. It was in that range. You got a couple people like, whatever, you're not going to hit everybody, right? But I felt the vibe in the room. We're moving and grooving. She put the whole thing to a halt with just being like, whatever. And I'm like, what's your problem? You know what I mean? So then I even tried to ask her, I was like, so what makes you think it's okay to do this right now? You know what I mean? So then I go off on her, you know what I'm saying? What comics do. She interrupted the show. And by the way, when you're at a show, why are you mad at me? Why are you mad at the comic? The comic is saying stuff, right? And then most of the crowd is laughing and enjoying themselves. And you're offended. And you're mad at me. The person you should be mad at is everyone around you having a good time. It shouldn't, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? If you had a rally and you don't agree with that, and you hear everybody going, yeah, you should be like, what are y'all doing? Why are y'all enjoying this? You mad at me? You should go outside afterwards and tell everybody off as they come out the building. You're not supposed to be mad at me. I'm obviously doing what I'm supposed to do, and obviously people are enjoying themselves. Maybe it's not me. Maybe it's you. So, I don't know. Crazy, okay? Absolute, just diabolical work here, okay? So, this is great. Oh, come on now. What is going on here with this? This is going to load. Anyways, so, all right. 2 days later, I get home. I'm home, whatever. And then I get this weird message, okay? I get this weird-ass message from somebody, and at first I thought, oh, this chick was in the show, all right? I'm thinking this chick's in the show, okay? She's not. Let's just read it, okay? Hi, you don't know me, and I don't expect a response. But this weekend, you did a show in Fort Worth, which you singled out one of my sweetest friends by saying, and there's this old lady. Okay, first of all, I didn't say that. I actually have it on video, okay? Anyways, I want to let you know that she put on a brave face after that comment, but you hit her where it hurts the most to point out that she was crying and internalizing your lack of judgment all weekend. She thought you were hilarious up until that point. I realize you're a comedian, but to humiliate people isn't funny, nor will it ever be. Okay, so she's going off, okay? Just like men don't like being called small, blah, blah, blah. And for the record, you and my friend are the same age, just saying. That's what she wrote, okay? So I wrote back, singled out. Have you forgotten the part for no reason she yelled out? Okay, so I'm going off on that now. And I go, and all I ask is if you don't like something at a comedy show, the proper response is silence. Whatever. This is what she writes. I wasn't there, to be honest. Guys, I wasn't there, to be honest. I wasn't there. Okay. But I appreciate your response. I didn't realize she was heckling, which isn't cool. I get it. I do. I'm a teacher, and I'm always rooting for the underdog, and was brokenhearted for her internalizing that. She's been through a lot lately. What? So let me get this straight. Let me get this straight so we're all clear. Let me go full screen here. We got to go full screen. So you're telling me you weren't at the show, and your friend is recapping what happened, and you think it's okay, without knowing anything, to hit up the comic and proceed to give me a telling off, not knowing that your friend brought it on herself. Well, that's what we're dealing with out there, y'all. That's legitimately, you don't know how it is. You don't know how it is to be a comic, man. You don't. You think you know what I mean? You're out here, you're doing your show, you're having a good-ass time, and some crazy person that's dealing with some personal issues doesn't like something you said, and because of her own personal issues, she then wants to ruin the whole show for everybody. And then I'm in the wrong, so now I'm the asshole because now I have to tell her off because she's ruined the show. Okay. You can handle it any way you want, by the way, as a comic. You could be fun with it. You could be angry with it. You could be like, whatever you want to do. It is what it is. But let's not forget the point that it is 1,000% rude to interrupt the show. It just is. Okay? But the crazy part, this girl that sent me a message was not there. Wow. I mean, bro, I'm telling you, man, y'all think it's easy. It's not. You know, these are the kind of things we deal with. You know what I mean? Just imagine you at your job. I mean, it's like, and then you have to deal with social media. You got people deal with people like this, you know, they hitting you up like this. You know, like everything you say, you know what I mean? Ugh, God. This leads me to the point I'm trying to make too on this week's episode. It's just like, you know, like it's okay for people to be offended. It really is. You know, the thing about social media right now, and even comedy being put on, say, television, the moment comedy was put on television to the masses like that, it became open to criticism in a way that comedians before me just didn't have to deal with like this. And the reason is, when you go to a comedy show, back in the day, it's the 80s, 90s, there's no internet. You're going to a comedy show, and I would think that your brain is ready for the kind of things you're going to experience. You're going to go, you're going to hear the comics say things, and you might be like, whoa, wow, I don't know about that one, bro. Or there might be a moment you're having as a comic that you're like trying something out, and maybe it doesn't go the way you want, and then the crowd reacts. Whatever, it's an experience you're having in that room collectively with this sole audience, and when you leave the room, that's the end of it. That's it. But the people that are watching, you have an expectation, and your brain is ready for it. If you just went to a funeral the night before, maybe you've decided, you know what, I need to go laugh. And even if like maybe the person has a joke about dead people and you might be like, oh no, this is not what I came for. You can either leave, maybe you don't laugh, but that's the end of it, okay? Once they put it on television, it changed it. It changed it because now people that are just at home, maybe they're not in the mindset of, oh, I want to watch comedy right now. Maybe they're just scrolling through the channels and they come across, what's this about? And you hear a joke that you go, ooh, that's not right. Because the setup wasn't there anymore. The setup of, hey, I'm going to buy these tickets to go to this comedy club. I'm going to get dressed. I'm going to drive there. I'm going to sit. I'm going to order drinks. I'm around people. We're all laughing. It's a collective shared experience. When it's just on TV, it's marginalized. And it's just like, you didn't expect this. You had no expectations of this. Now, there are some people who have the mindset of like, oh, I love comedy and I love dark comedy, or I love humor and my brain works like that and I want to see this and I'm going to laugh. Oh, you're switching the channels and you're like, oh man, look at this comedy. This is great. But for the most part, you open yourself up to criticism. As a performer, when you put your stuff on TV for a lot of people to see, or, now you're like, oh man, there's people going to write letters. Oh, I didn't like that joke. That's what they were doing in the 80s, 90s. Now you got the internet, okay? Internet comes about, and now people have a voice instantly. So now they sitting at home, they watching something on their phone, or they're watching it on their TV, and now they can just go right to their blog, and they're like, this is terrible. I can't believe that this is on, but you've opened yourself up to that because there's the social contract with comedy. It's too vague. It's a vague contract, The social contract would say driving a car, we all expect a higher standard. When I see a green light, I'm going to go through this green light because I know the people on the sides, unless they're just a psychopathic monster or drunk or something, they're not going to run that red light, and we're not going to put our lives in danger. That's a social contract that we all have. You know what I mean? We act a certain way regardless of the laws, by the way. Those are contracts we have with each other. Comedy, the social contract with comedy is so vague that it's hard to make everybody happy, and it's hard not to offend certain people. It just is what it is, And I think we should have more grace for both sides, but we don't. You know what I mean? But we don't. So then you had people writing letters and whatnot, or writing on their, their message boards, and then they came streaming, and now you have Instagram and all these things, and now there's instant ideas, and now that rage is monetized, you know what I mean? Outrage is monetized, and it's also weaponized. Social issues are weaponized. Religious issues are weaponized. Political issues are now weaponized and used for content to make money. So now you don't even know, if you're watching something, does this person really believe what they're saying, or are they just doing that because it gets views? So now you don't know what's what. And then you find yourself like somebody might write something on like, all men are disgusting. And then you just have a bunch of comments. What are you talking about? Oh, man, and it's like, that's the purpose of it. It drives engagement, and engagement drives revenue. So now people aren't just saying how they really feel or having a discussion about things, because people don't want common sense. People don't want to hear both sides. They want one side so they can rage against it. So when it comes to comedy, now you got something like Netflix, so you're putting out your special because you want to grab fans. But yes, you might grab fans, but at the same time, you're going to grab people who don't agree. And those are going to be the people that hit you up more than the people that enjoyed it. It's just a fact. You put out a special and people are going to be like, man, that was funny. I really like that. And that's going to be the end of it for them. But there are people out there who, for the most part, when they don't like something, they're like, you know what? I'm going to go tell this guy how I feel, because this is the first time in history, really, in our existence, that you have access to pretty much anyone. If they're on the internet, you have access to them. It doesn't mean they're going to listen to it, right? But you do. You could send Justin Bieber a message right now. He might look at it. He's on his Instagram, You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You can send a message to Selena Gomez or whoever you're into. Donald Trump even. Maybe he's in his bed at night in the White House and he's just scrolling through comments just because he wants to. He might see your thing and be like, what? Or he might be like, wow, that was really nice. Hey, that was huge comment, huge. You never know. So this is the first time we have this thing and people take advantage of it. Like this girl. This girl who wasn't even at the show decided to send me a message to tell me off. Was she telling me off, or was she like, it was like a societal thing that she was doing? But that's the world we live in right now, and I think we should have grace for both sides. So what I mean by that is, listen, just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right, or that that's the stance that everyone should take. It's okay for you to be offended, and then you just leave, move on with your life, or you go, oh, that's not my cup of tea. But to attack people because they don't agree with you is crazy work, in my opinion. I've told this story and I'll tell it again. I'm at the Laugh Factory one night, and I used to have this joke about this. There was this incident at Santa Barbara College, this guy, this crazy guy, he was getting rejected by women, so he went on a shooting spree, okay? And so I'm talking about it because I'm saying, because by the way, it's within the framework of I'm talking about guns and gun control and what we're doing with guns, right? It's my take on about guns, and I'm like, this guy's, and I say, the jokes I go like, I too have been rejected by women. I know, crazy. Can you believe as cute as I am? This is like how the joke goes, and I'm like, but I've never thought I need to kill these bitches. You know what I mean? And I'm going in about it. I'm just like, and then I say like, to all those women that rejected this guy, but I'm doing it as a misdirection. Like I'm trying to, like I'm starting like I'm blaming them, and I'm saying like, to all those women who rejected him, man, you guys, great choice, because obviously he was crazy. You know what I mean? Anyways, most people in the crowd are laughing because they get what I'm trying to say, and then the joke before that about gun control. Anyways, reason why I'm saying this. I get off stage and one of the waitresses comes running up to me and she's like, Erik, you can't do that. What joke did you tell? Oh my God. There's a girl, she's crying in the bathroom. Turns out this girl went to Santa Barbara and knows about that situation and may have known people who got killed or something, right? Okay. Now this is my point about this. That was personal to this audience member. And it touched her in a way that most of us won't understand. But I appreciate the way she handled it. Because what she did was she removed herself from the situation and went and had her emotional breakdown. Because that was her thing. Everyone else was like, okay, I get the point he's making. Maybe it's harsh or maybe it's not. Or it was like right in the pocket for people. And they were like, oh, he's making a good ass point. Because in the end of the joke, I say, listen, if I killed every woman that rejected me, all these waitresses would be dead. That's the end joke, right? But anyways, my point is this. She handled it in a way, like, she's not wrong for being offended, right? She's not wrong for having an emotional reaction. Because that's something that's going on in her life. But it would be wrong if she stood up in the middle of the show and interrupted the show to go on a tirade about comedy and you're insensitive and all that kind of thing. That wouldn't be appropriate. That action wouldn't be. How she handled it, she handled it. You know what I mean? Sorry that you felt that way, but I'm not sorry for what I'm talking about, right? She's not wrong. I'm not wrong. The people laughing in the crowd aren't wrong either. But we live in a society right now where you can now go to the internet and claim moral superiority as if everything that you're saying it has to be the truth with no discussion or anything. And that leads me to this Sydney Sweeney jeans ad. But before we do that, guys, let's talk about Hims. Hims. ED can make you feel out of control. Hims lets you take it back with personalized treatment options, including daily meds that support more spontaneous moments. Hey, I'm not ashamed to admit, when you're trying to have a baby and you're planning it out, sometimes for guys that could be like a psychological thing where you're just like, you can't perform and you think like, oh my God, what is this about? And, it just becomes a thing, So something like this might help you, I tried it because I was like, oh man, was something wrong with me? And it turned out I needed to just be like more romantic. So if you're someone like that, Hims might help you out. So when the spontaneous moment comes, you could be there, be ready to go. Through Hims, you can access personalized prescription treatment options for ED like Hard Mints, Sex RX Plus, Climax Control if prescribed. Hims offers access to ED treatment options ranging from Hard Mints to trusted generics and 95% less than brand names. 95% less, that's pretty good. Think of Hims as your digital front door that gets you back to your old self with simple 100% online access to trusted treatments for ED, more all in one place. To get simple online access to personalized, affordable care for ED, hair loss, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/Griffin. That's hims.com/Griffin for free online visit. hims.com/Griffin. Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products include compound drug products with the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information. Thank you, Hims, for supporting the show. All right, guys. Let's talk about Sydney Sweeney's Hims ad. Sydney Sweeney. Hims. Hims. No, Hims. What am I? I'm sorry. American Eagle jeans. She distracted me with that, right? So, all right, guys. So, I mean, obviously it's out there. Everybody knows about it. So, American Eagle comes out with this, this Hims ad, right? That it's like a double entendre, okay? They show Sydney Sweeney. She's looking all whatever, Sydney Sweeney beautiful. If you're into that, you're into it. And she's like, she's talking about jeans, like, oh, my blue eyes and this. And then, it's like a double entendre. The point of the joke is she's saying I have good jeans, meaning her jeans, her clothes, her American Eagle jeans. Now, this is the thing. As I said before, the issue with this really is, how do you want to view the world? I'm not going to sit here and say people are wrong for how they feel. It's not the point I'm trying to make right now. But that is the thing that drives engagement on the internet. Right now on the internet, you see a bunch of like how liberals are reacting to Sydney Sweeney's ad, and then there's like this funny thing. And then on the other side, it's like people making fun of Sydney Sweeney, or making fun of the ad, like, making Nazi references and stuff like that. Okay. That's, again, on the internet, that's for engagement. That's to get people to watch and listen. That's for revenue. It's not for changing the world, Let's not fool ourselves at all, Maybe if I did that, I'd have a bigger audience, maybe. Maybe I would have more people watching my show. But, this is not what I do, you know what I mean? And sorry, not sorry, right? So that's important to this. Because a lot of the outrage you see about this Sydney Sweeney ad, I don't believe most of it. I think it's just like, oh, this is how. Interesting enough, though, I do believe some of the, let's say, common sense, right-leaning feel to some of the things. I think they mean what they're saying, and they're doing it in a way that's perfect for engagement. And I think that the people that are showing outrage for this, they're doing it in a way to inspire engagement. Because there's nothing better than a liberal message, a strong liberal, closed-minded message. Those are great for engagement. Because the comments just get flooded with people like, this is your problem, libtard, and they go on and on and on and on about that. But that's great for engagement. So I don't believe either side. You know what I mean? I just don't believe either side, okay? So, I mean, the question becomes, is it great genes or a bad take? You know what I mean? It's like, is this, it's like, it's not a eugenics campaign. You know what I mean? All right. Anyways, let's just do it like this. So I want to talk about it in this way. All right, and I'll try to look at the comments to see what we're saying here. How do you want to look at the world? That's what this is about to me. How do you see yourself in this world? What are the things that have happened to you that make you decide how you look at things, how things affect you? Like the story I said about the girl from Santa Barbara, okay? That thing that happened now shapes how she looks at guns even. You know what I mean? So there's that. How you want to be seen now. But for that girl, I give respect for deciding to get up, leave the show, and deal with her emotions on her own. Okay? Boom. How she dealt with it. Like, she could have went to the internet and been like, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? And it could have been a whole thing, but who knows, right? Maybe she did do that and I never saw it. There's different ways. So there's this way to look at this. American Eagle wanted to do a funny jeans ad. They picked the current it girl. The current girl that is, subjectively hot to everybody. She's in a lot of sex scenes. She's known for having big ass titties. People love that about her. She's in Euphoria, a show that just glorifies young sex and female bodies, and that's just her thing. Okay, you know what I mean? And she leans into it. She's making a bunch of money. Good for her. That's the person you would pick for this. And they go, oh, let's use her. And then this is what we'll do. We'll have her talk about jeans, and then it'll be over the ad, Sydney Sweeney has good jeans. But they're talking about her American Eagle jeans. Everybody in the room probably was like, oh, that's hilarious. And then when I saw it, that's the first thing I thought. I was like, oh, that's funny. I said, oh, I get it. Good jeans. You know what I mean? That's a hilarious way to do that. Okay? That's how I look at it. But, you might say, well, Erik, you're a comic. I think a lot of people looked at it like that. Then, a few days later, I start seeing these posts on Instagram that are coming up. And this one girl, it's like, I don't know if this matters, but it's a fat girl. But I don't know if it matters. But I think that's a part of that helps the outrage engagement. You know what I'm saying? And then she's going in about like, oh, Sydney, this seems like a Nazi ad. Like, this seems like an ad Hitler would run. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, and you're like, whoa. And when she was saying this, I was like, now here's the thing I want to say. The way my brain works, I was like, oh, okay, I see what you're saying. I don't think that's what they were doing, but I can see how you misconstrued it to that. But now it's turned into this whole thing, and then they're yelling at Sydney Sweeney when she's walking on the red carpet, and they're making the girl cry on Instagram, and she's like, hey, I just did a funny ad. What are you talking about? It's like, how do you want to look at the world, man? It's like, do you want to constantly, put victimhood out? That everything's against you? It's all a conspiracy? Like, really? Like, this is all some, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just, is it all some secret manifesto of American Eagle to put out that, like, white is right? And I don't know. I choose not to look at the world through that prism all the time. I like to think that this was just a funny ad. And when this controversy kicked up, they were like, oh, hell yeah, this is going to be great. I'm glad they didn't cave. They put out a great, funny statement about it, like a strong statement, like, we stand by Sydney Sweeney in these jeans. Donald Trump stepping in doesn't help the situation at all. Like, this guy is just helping the liberal influencers make more money. Because once he steps into that, now it just becomes, yes, it is a fascist ad. It is, white supremacy. You know what I mean? He helped that. He pushed that narrative. So now all those people are like, yes, 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 yes. Oh my God, can you believe this? And then all these like pseudo funny people, making fun of Sydney Sweeney, I think is shameful. You know what I mean? I just think, I find it ridiculous. I think there's other things in the world that we could be concerned with and worried about. You know, that being said, if you're offended by it, okay, I get it. But I venture to say that you're probably offended by a lot of things then. I would say you probably shouldn't go to any comedy shows. Don't watch any satirical movies. I don't know. I wouldn't want to live like that. That everything I look at, I find the racism in it. I find the sexism in it. I find, you know what I mean? That kind of, I don't know. How can you be happy living like that? I'm not saying those things don't exist, because they do. There are issues in the world. But I don't know if you can attack every single issue every single time on everything just because you've translated it that way. I didn't translate it this way. I saw a funny ad campaign. That's what I saw. And then I would keep going with it. You know what I mean? I would, find a bunch of dudes named Gene and be like, that they work for American Eagle, like Jake from State Farm type thing. You know what I'm saying? My next ad would be like, the guy's name is Gene. He's like, he comes in and he's like, he helps an old lady walk across the street. And then he has an American Eagle shirt on. And then it says, American Eagle. They've got good genes. You know what I'm saying? You can just keep going with it, But anyways, somebody might find a way to make that racist, And then they're poor Beyonce is getting drawn into it because of her Levi's ad. So now it becomes this black and white issue again. And it's just like, you go, wow, you can't just, you can't just advertise your product anymore without people worrying about this. You know what I mean? I just think when I see this, I think it's hilarious, But I just want to point out again, I want to make this point again. Most of this isn't real. Most of the outrage you see on the internet is for content. It's not real. And it becomes real when casual people who they see this and they might be like, oh my God, I can't believe that they did that, because, it's kind of like when, what this reminds me of? This is Jumbotron mentality. What do I mean by that? I used to go to the Clippers games a lot, man. I had season tickets with Adam Devine. I would go to the games, and they would always put me on the Jumbotron. So one time I'm in the parking lot, and this kid sees me, and he's like, oh man, you're the dude on the Jumbotron. You know what I mean? Like I was a celebrity because I was on the Jumbotron. You know what I mean? It's like, I think that's what we feel about this phone, the internet. We give people credibility, just like Google. Like you could Google something and you go, well, what's the source of this? How do we know that's true? Cite your sources used to be a thing. Now you just say the internet, and you can't believe that. You even got to ask the AI, like, yo, what's your sources for this? Are you making this up? And the AI might even say, yeah, I did make up a little bit of this. I was just using AI common sense. You know what I'm trying to say? So just because you see somebody that has a nice setup, like me, they have a nice setup on their phone and they're doing the whole thing, and you go, oh, wow, yeah, this person's right. Sydney Sweeney is a Nazi racist. It's like, nah, yeah, I don't know that fat girl that made that thing. That's just some angry fat girl, or that's trying to get views, maybe, Or it's some political activist that's her agenda as well, to always be a political activist all the time. Either way, I'm just telling you as a listener right now, as a viewer, take things with a grain of salt. I don't think you should jump to outrage, and I don't think you should jump to agreement either. But just take a beat and assess it, and then be like, oh, I think that was just funny, and let me move on with my life. Or you might go, they should have thought better of that. In this climate, with Trump as president, maybe you should have thought better. That could be your thought process too. But either way, the other side isn't wrong. And I think you should just have more grace. Just have more grace. And I think we'd have a better society. All right, that's all I have to say about that, guys. Love it or leave it. Um, last thing I want to talk about is like, first of all, I want to shout out my dude Chuck. He's now my movie guy. I'm actually going to have him on the podcast too, man. This guy is like, he hit me to a couple of movies, right? That I want to go to his profile. Here we go. Let me go to his profile. Let me send it. Okay, I'm going to share this with myself. You know, this is great. You share too. Then you go airdrop. There's my Mac Mini. Boom. You know, and then his profile comes up. Woo! Love that, y'all. That's great. Okay, so how do we do that? Let's go to share screen. So this is my guy right here, dude. You guys gotta look it up. Your movie _ guy 412, and tell him Erik Griffin sent you. Actually, I'm gonna put this in the description of the show. But anyway, he hit me to this movie called Hippo, guys. This movie called Hippo. Once again, shout out to Chuck. So he hit me to this movie Hippo, man. This was, the most bizarre, crazy movie I have seen in a very long time. It's black and white. It's artsy-fartsy as hell. The way it's shot, the way it's acted, the story it's telling. And I loved it. It just reminded me of just old school movie making. This isn't like a superhero movie. This isn't like a horror movie that you're going to make a bunch of money because it's a slasher. This, you know what I mean? One of those low budget horror movies that makes a lot of money. This is just a guy wrote a story and he shot it and told it, and you love it or hate it, right? But Hippo's a peculiar adolescent and his Hungarian stepsister Buttercup struggle of a coming to age in the late 1990s America under the roof of a mother who has institutionalized and at least once. So it's about this guy Hippo who's he clearly got issues, okay? Kimball Farley is the guy's name. Lily Kitzlinger and Eliza Roberts. Those are the main stars of the movie. So this young kid, he plays a lot of video games. He's got a very strange way of speaking. You know what I mean? And you can tell he's a weird kid. It's black and white. He's got this Hungarian stepsister. It's she's adopted stepsister, so they're not really related. She's a Jesus freak and wants to have a baby. She just wants to get pregnant and wants him to do it. But then she goes on Craigslist and invites over this weirdo to get her pregnant. The mom's batshit, and it's all filmed in this one location. They're homeschooled. It's on this weird farm. Now you can watch this for free on Tubi right now. If you have Tubi, you can watch it for free. I highly recommend it. Let's just get back to watching movies, We got to get back to just watching movies. I'm going to watch Sinners. It's on HBO. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to review it next week. Because people keep asking me about Sinners. But this was a good one, man. This was just... I don't know, man. I like these kind of movies. And I'm going to have my man Chuck on the podcast because I want him to... I want him just to, to talk about movies, man. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be a good discussion because I feel like I saw Quentin Tarantino on Tom Segura's podcast just kind of being this is a terrible time for movies. And I totally agree, Wait, let me just put this in the description. And I totally agree. I think there's so many factors that go into why movies aren't, that the experience of movies aren't the same as it once was. And a lot of that just has to do with the internet, man. It really does. And how you make profit on a movie. So it used to be, and I saw Matt Damon talking about this too, and it was it really made me think. It's so profound to think that DVD sales used to be a huge thing. DVD sales and rentals and licensing of your movie after the movie came out. I remember Austin Powers. Austin Powers is one of my favorite movies. I actually have to review that on Letterboxd. One of my favorite, and check out my Letterboxd, guys. I'm going to review all the movies I talk about here. I write a nice review on there too. But that's Austin Powers was not a theatrical success when it first came out, but it was huge on DVD and VHS afterwards. And then it turned into this thing, and then there was like sequels, and it made Mike Myers rich and famous. I don't know if that would happen today. Like a movie just would not be able to come out because there's no back end for movies anymore. So therefore, you have to make movies, big blockbuster type movies, or just nothing's gonna come of it. And then the only way to get people to see your movie now, because they're not going to go to the theaters to see your little low budget movie, they're going to wait for it to come on DVD or Netflix or HBO Max or any of the streaming platforms or free on Tubi. You know what I mean? So, and I think that that's pretty much killed the movie business right now. And we just gotta, and I think one way to do it is like it's all superhero movies right now because, whatever the reason is, it is what it is. But I do like that, like Brad Pitt's Formula One, it's the biggest movie he's ever done. But it's not necessarily about, it's not a superhero movie. It's just, great story. So that brought me to the movie theater. And I'm like, oh, I need to go back to the movie theater. But I think we should go back to the movie theater to watch movies like Sinners. Like I should have saw Sinners in a movie theater. But I didn't want to. It didn't appeal to me. I thought, I don't know. I'll wait. It'll come on cable. It'll come on. That's your thought process. But people don't make money like that. And then so if they're not making money, they're not going to make movies. They're not going to make let's just make a great movie and see what happens. We don't care about the Oscars because it's so politicized. We're not going to watch that anymore. So we don't care that our great movies, and we don't need to. It used to be that you would watch the Oscars and it was the only time you could, other than magazines, that you could see a star. Oh, there's the guy from the movie I like. Oh, he's dressed up. He looks great. Who's he wearing? And all that kind of stuff. You don't got to do that now. You just go to their Instagram. You go on their Instagram and you see more, hear more, know more about them than any entertainment show could tell you about them. They'll tell you themselves, And that's the world we live in right now. So all the conventional media, all the conventional outlets that we used to have before, all the legacy media and how we looked at movies and how we talked about it, how we reviewed it, all that stuff's done. You could just go to actually Hippo, the movie Hippo actually also has an Instagram, which I'm going to put up there. I'm going to put in the comments so you can see that too. They're just trying to pump out their movie. And so we got to do our part. If you like movies is what I'm saying. If you like movies, you got to go watch movies again, You got to find a way to go watch movies. But there's so much content out there right now that you're just kind of like, I could just watch whatever, so much great movies on. And now because movie stars have decided that, oh, okay, we're going to do TV shows. Now there's no separation of that because that used to be a big deal. That used to be a big deal. It's like movie stars don't do TV. And then the only way you could see those movie stars was you'd have to go to the movie theater. Now, all the movie stars, they got television shows. They got 8-episode, single season miniseries on Netflix and HBO. And now you're just kind of like, everything's muddled. And you're just kind of like, well, what's the difference between watching this person on Netflix or going to the theater? And there is no difference anymore. But the shared experience of being in a movie theater with people and laughing and the darkness and just losing yourself in the cinema, I encourage you to get back to that. I encourage you to go to whatever art house film place is around your area. I encourage you to look up whatever genre you enjoy and see if there's a movie that's coming out. If you like horror movies, I guarantee you there's a little art house horror movie that's out right now that'll blow your mind. And you'll be like, what? I can't believe how great that was. Why don't more people know about that? It's because we're not looking for it, and it's not being publicized, and it's not being put out because they don't have a big budget, and they have to try to carve out their audience through the internet. And I encourage you to also look. If you love movies, if you care about movies, I need you to go out there and watch movies. Look for the movies you want to see. You know, sometimes, like I listen to audiobooks and I read books, and if I really enjoy it, you know what, I find the author on Instagram and I'm like, yo, I love this series I'm reading right now. They got like 700 followers and they're like, oh man, thank you so much, because sometimes people need a little pick-me-up, you know what I mean? They need a like, hey, you know what, I hear you. I see your work and I appreciate it, you know? So that's it. That's all I got to say, guys. Hey, I appreciate you guys for watching the show. As always, make sure you sub, okay? Hit me on Twitch, because I'm there all the time. I'm going to be playing Battlefield when it comes out. I'm just going to break down and do it, whatever. Patreon, folks, you know, you're going to get the stuff early. And then once I get the studios coming together, you know, don't worry. That's going to happen. And I appreciate that. And to all my audio listeners, guys, you audio folks, I appreciate you. And I'll see you guys next week, audio people. All right, YouTubers, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for chatting. I see everybody in the chat. I appreciate you guys. And I will see you next week.